What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about all of the baby Pokemon from Generation 4. There's definitely going to be a couple of interesting topics in relation to this. The first one is going to be that some of these Pokemon do have an evolved form that is currently in the egg system. So that does mean when Generation 4 hits, there's definitely going to have to be a change. But we'll definitely be discussing that throughout the video. The second point is going to be related to Mr. Mime. What the heck is Niantic going to do? Is it going to be relieved of its duties from a regional standpoint, or will Niantic come up with something creative? We'll definitely be covering that, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the episode. The first Pokemon that we are going to take a look at is Bonsly. So Bonsly is not something that I'm particularly excited about, but for all of you hardcore Sudowoodo fans, you're definitely going to enjoy this being introduced into the game. So something kind of cool about this is Sudowoodo used to be in the 10-kilometer eggs, but thankfully it was removed. But you could honestly say that with the addition of Bonsly, it pretty much guarantees that Sudowoodo will never make it back into an egg, which I'm personally excited about. So we can definitely give a thanks to Bonsly for that. Let's go ahead and move into the next one, and that is Budew. So something very cool about Budew is related to its family. So Roselia is one of the few Pokemon, not only in Pokemon Go, but just in the Pokemon franchise, that ended up receiving an evolution and a baby Pokemon within the same generation. All of a sudden, a Pokemon like Roselia that doesn't evolve into anything is a part of a 3 Pokemon line family. Definitely a buff up from what it was used originally. And something cool also is going to be that Roserade's actually very good from a grass and poison typing. So this is going to be a family that you do not want to take lightly. Let's go ahead and move up further on the list. Up next we have Ching Ling. I'll go ahead and give you a really cool story about this. I actually do not have a Chimecho. I haven't managed to get one from a 10-kilometer egg, which it is currently available. Surely when Ching Ling gets added in, Chimecho will be removed. I could imagine Ching Ling being in something like a 5-kilometer egg, which technically could make it rarer just because there are so many Pokemon in the 5-kilometer egg. But anyways, I want to go ahead and ask a question on this. Do any of you have a Chimecho? Like I said, this is actually one of the few Pokemon that I've literally never seen, I've never hatched, and something that I would look forward to if I could get it by using Ching Ling. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, and that is Happiny. So Happiny definitely looks familiar. Notice that it does have the egg in the pouch. They start them young these days. It is a part of the Chansey family. So Chansey from Generation 1 getting Blissey for Generation 2, and then finally in Generation 4 there is a baby Pokemon. So this is going to be an interesting case because Chansey was in 10-kilometer eggs. So what the heck is going to happen now? I still think that they want to kind of keep it a little bit rare because Blissey is definitely very good at gym defending. So honestly, I think the 5-kilometer egg and putting Happiny in there is probably going to be the best bet, and then just remove Chansey completely. But then again, those are just my thoughts. Let's go ahead and move up. On the list, we have Mantine. So Mantine looks super incredible. I think that this is actually going to be a part of a family that really deserved a baby Pokemon. I'm not as big of a fan of Pokemon that don't have any pre-evolutions, post-evolutions. It's just kind of a singular one that ends up not being that good. For instance, with Mantine, it just seems kind of left out to the side, and at least having some type of evolution could make it a little bit more fun in my mind. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, and that is Munchlax. Go ahead and check this out. If you were able to pick up on the sprite, you already know what I'm about to say. It is the baby Pokemon for Snorlax. So Snorlax, a Generation 1 Pokemon, finally receives a baby form. This is something for the longest time I felt was needed to happen, so once Generation 4 hit in the Pokemon series, definitely excited to see Munchlax. But beyond that, this is going to be another Pokemon. Yes, another one that is currently in the 10-kilometer eggs. So what is going to happen? Surely Niantic will not say, well, let's take out Snorlax and literally replace it with Munchlax. If they did that with Happiny and Munchlax and just literally replace them into the 10-kilometer eggs, that would be insane. It's very possible though. You never know what Niantic is going to do, but there's definitely going to need to be a change. Maybe we will never see Snorlax in an egg group again. Let's go ahead and move up further on the list. This is going to be a very interesting Pokemon because it is a Generation 4 baby Pokemon for a Generation 4 Pokemon, and that is Riolu. So Riolu evolves into Lucario, which is a Generation 4 Pokemon. So you might be thinking that that's a little bit weird. As far as I'm aware, that's only happened 2 times in the Pokemon franchise. First, you have Togepi and Togetic being introduced in the same generation, and now you have Riolu and Lucario. So that's the only cases that I can think of. It's definitely unique for that standpoint. So it kind of makes you wonder what the heck is going to happen with this Pokemon. Are they going to introduce it through the egg system? Because that's what tends to happen with these baby Pokemon, or is it going to be able to be caught in the wild? I'm definitely very curious about this. But by the way, if you are a little bit curious as to what Lucario would look like in the game, I went ahead and built a card for it. So by the way, Lucario does pick up the steel typing, so it is a fighting and steel type. This is a Pokemon that got mentioned so many times on so many videos that I talked about for Generation 4, so I definitely wanted to make it for the fans. Let's go ahead and move into a very interesting conversation. This is going to be the one that I wanted to save for last, and that is Mime Jr. So you can definitely guess what family this belongs to, but there's so many interesting things to talk about with this, because Mime Jr. is going to be evolving into a Pokemon that is a regional Pokemon. Mr. Mime is the regional Pokemon for Europe. So what the heck is going to happen with this Pokemon? So I actually have 2 main ideas of what I think Niantic will probably do. Keep in mind, I'm not saying should do, but what they probably will do. So you may not remember this, but a long time ago when the game first came out, you could actually get regional Pokemon in eggs. So something that I've thought about for a while is that Niantic could end up just taking Mr. Mime out completely and then putting in Mime Jr. into an egg, but only available in Europe. This could happen. It has happened in the past. They did shy away from it, but it is something where they could still keep it regional. The second one is going to be the idea of just releasing Mr. Mime into the wild and not making it regional anymore, and also not Mime Jr., and then just replace it with another Generation 4 Pokemon. That's something that I can get behind, and hopefully Niantic is watching this, because for me personally, I think getting rid of one less regional is going to be a plus. Anyways, that's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you did learn something new. If you are not familiar with all of these baby Pokemon, hopefully it is going to kind of get you aware and then at least a little bit more informed in relation to when they get introduced into the egg system. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end on a question of the day. Which one of these baby Pokemon was your favorite? Go ahead and leave it in the comments section below, and I will see you next time.
Hit me like a tidal wave. Triggered by the aftershock.